Hello, this is Chris from Scientific Audiophile, and today we're going to discuss the idea of being a trained listener. People keep asking me, how can you actually hear the difference between cables on the ground and cables on cable risers 6 inches off the ground? How can you be that good at hearing? How can I be a professional audiophile? The difference is training. So this is a really good post by Amir at the Audio Science Review. He's the founder of Audio Science Review, and he talks very importantly about taking Harman listening tests, and that increased his abilities. Now, this is kind of where Amir and I depart on our philosophy. Let me explain. So Amir, like others, have taken the Harman training course and become better at listeners for it. And I give them credit for that. But no one takes it to the level I do. I spend 6 hours a day constantly training my ears and becoming a better listener every day for it. People who have witnessed my training regimen for increasing my listening ability have told me there's literally no difference between my intensity and Tom Brady's intensity when he trains for football. But I think they're wrong because Tom Brady's 44 years old and he's at the top of his game. I'm 53 years old and I'm still at the top of my game. So Tom Brady's got to play football for another 9 years just to match me. And I probably won't stop until I'm 73, 74 years old. So Tom Brady's probably never going to play football that long. You really can't compare Tom Brady to me. I'm much more intense, much more focused than he'll ever be. And I'll be doing, professional listening for 20, 30 more years. And he's probably retired in another year or two. So let's not try to put Tom Brady in the same league as me. We're talking about a high-level human being here who is just far beyond anything that has ever come before and probably ever will. What has been made very clear here, though, is it's more than just the high-level intensity of the physical training. The 6 hours of hard workouts every day is only to prepare for the big game, the listening that I do. So when I compare one cable to another and I can tell you the difference, yes, that physical training is super important. But you also have to be prepared for how smart you have to be as a listener. Let me try to explain this in a little bit greater detail because a lot of people really don't get this part of listening. What are you listening to? If I'm listening to classical music and I want to hear the difference between Vivaldi on a 16-bit track versus Vivaldi on a 24-bit track, that has to be done drinking wine, and certain kinds of wine too, not just any kind of wine. You're not going to do Vivaldi with a white wine. That would just be silly. So, and you can't just drink a little bit. You got to get down at least halfway down the bottle before you start hearing the differences between each of the tracks. And when I'm listening to something like salsa music, right? You have to start off with your Captain Morgan spiced rum, okay? And you really aren't done listening until you get that baby down to about here, And if you drink the whole bottle, well, then you're an idiot because you don't really know what you're doing, okay? And then you have other issues. So, for example, you have mixed music, okay? So you have people who have taken one genre of music and mixed it with another genre of music. Now, you might have to grab the spiced rum for that and a little bourbon whiskey, okay? And it's that intelligence of knowing how to mix your drinks and which ones to drink during which kinds of music and how much to drink. You got to be smashed, but you can't be blacked out. I mean, come on, people. This is what it means to be a professional listener. And this is where guys like Amir over at Audio Science Review, they just don't meet me at that level, and they never will. It's where Tom Brady can't meet me on the level. Tom Brady drinking a bottle of this before he goes to a football game would not perform well. Yet I can drink this and still maintain my professional listening capabilities. In fact, I'm better after drinking a whole bottle of wine or spiced rum. So these are the differences, I think, where I just separate myself from any other professional at all out there. And it's why no one can really compete with me when it comes to listening tests. Because someone says, can you hear the difference between this speaker wire and that speaker wire. And I'll tell you, maybe, just maybe, with all my 6 hours of training every day physically, I can pick up those differences. But you change that wire after this bottle's almost gone, boom, I can pick it up in a snap. So these are the differences I think people have to really recognize in why I'm a professionally trained listener, and not just through one training, but I train every single day of my life for listening to music. And that separates me from anyone else. And it's why you should be listening to me when it comes to all your audiophile products. So I really hope this helps some of you think about becoming a better listener and understanding the training regimen that I go through every single day. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and learn a lot more about being a professional audiophile. This is Chris from Scientific Audiophile, and thank you for listening.